Welcome to Travel with Sean. I'm Sean, and today we're in Thessaloniki, Greece, and I want to show you some of the top sights to see when visiting Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki, known in English as Thessalonica, is the second largest city in Greece and the capital city of the province of Macedonia. The city was founded in 315 BC by King Cassander of Macedon, who named it after his wife Thessaloniki, the sister of Alexander the Great. When the Roman Empire split in the 5th century, Thessaloniki was the wealthiest and second largest city of the Byzantine Empire. The city was part of the Ottoman Empire, predecessor of Turkey, from 1430 until the Kingdom of Greece was established in 1912. Many of its historic buildings in Old Town contributed to its classification as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Arch of Galerius is adorned with intricate reliefs that depict key moments from the military victories of the Roman Emperor Galerius. Built around 303 to 305 AD, the arch celebrates Galerius's victory over the Persians and his role in securing the Roman Empire's eastern borders. The carvings on the arch primarily focus on the emperor's military triumphs and are divided into 4 main sections. Victory over the Persians, showcasing scenes of Roman soldiers engaged in combat. Procession of captives. This illustrates the extent of his victory and the submission of the enemy. Emperor status. The arch's reliefs also highlight Galerius' status as a powerful ruler. And yet other panels showcase celebrations of the victory, with Roman soldiers and officials participating in the festivities. The next stop on our tour is the Church of St. George, also known as the Rotunda. The tall tower standing next to it is a Muslim minaret installed in 1591. The Rotunda gets its name from its circular shape and has frequently been compared to the Pantheon of Rome due to its appearance. The minaret stands approximately 138 feet tall and is the last minaret remaining in Thessaloniki. You buy your entry ticket just inside the front gate, and it costs €6 per person in 2025. The Rotunda was built in about 305 AD by Galerius, the primary of 3 ruling Roman emperors at that time, and it was intended to be his mausoleum. When he died in 311, Galerius was buried in modern-day Serbia, and the Rotunda was left vacant for many years. Upon entering the Rotunda, my first impression was wow. Although it seems smaller than the Pantheon of Rome, it's still impressive. It also feels so solemn being inside, as it's mostly barren, devoid of decoration other than the altar and the paintings on the apse and the ceiling, the inner dome. In 324 AD, Constantine the Great became the sole Roman emperor, and as a Christian, he made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire, and it's believed that this is when the Rotunda was converted into a church and dedicated to St. George. Church of St. George is the oldest church in Thessaloniki. The Ottoman Turks converted this building into a mosque in 1591 and renamed it in honor of the Ottoman official who oversaw its conversion. This hexagonal structure is believed to be the church's baptismal font, likely installed shortly after the building was converted into a church in the early 4th century. After the Rotunda was converted into a mosque, this was likely converted to be used as a wudu station, which is where the Muslim worshippers perform the required ritual washing before entering the mosque for worship. And now we've come to the Roman Forum. This was the heart of the city when it was part of the Roman Empire. It was discovered in the 1960s while a construction crew was digging as part of a planned construction of a courthouse here. The Roman Forum was the political, social, and economic hub of Thessaloniki during Roman rule. It had a large open area flanked by porticos, covered walkways, and even had 2 Roman baths. It was a 2-story complex with an underground cryptoporticus, a subterranean passageway used for storage or other administrative functions. Archaeologists have determined that the Forum was remodeled in the 2nd century AD, and that it was likely in use until at least the 6th century, possibly ending after the strong earthquake of 551 AD that caused extensive damage throughout the city. The amphitheater, also known as the Odeon, likely hosted public events, speeches, and performances such as plays, music, and gladiator games, all for the benefit of the Roman citizens. The next stop on our tour is Portara and the walls of Thessaloniki. Portara, meaning Great Gate, was the main entrance into the city, and the walls of Thessaloniki were built in the 3rd century by Emperor Galerius to defend against attacks from Germanic tribes called the Goths. The walls were strengthened and expanded in the 4th and 5th centuries, and again by the Ottoman Turks during their reign that lasted from the 15th century until well into the 19th century. In the mid-14th century, Byzantine Empress Anna Palaeologyna modified some parts of the walls. In doing so, she created 2 gates known as doors to the walls. These gates provided safe passage for citizens to seek refuge in the Acropolis and Heptapyrgion during attacks and sieges. The walls were about 2.5 miles long until large sections, especially those facing the Adriatic Sea, were demolished in the late 1800s by the Ottoman Turk rulers, who didn't think they were necessary. In different parts of the wall, such as this one here, we can see where it was partially repaired using material from another source. That's the triangle tower in the distance, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I was talking about the 2 gates created in the 14th century by the Byzantine Empress Anna Palaeologyna, and this is one of them. You saw me walking through one of the gates. Now, they were right next to each other, but I've walked around several minutes to come back to this gate to walk through it. And you can see that it does not appear to be in its original condition. It appears to have been repaired or reinforced over the years. But one thing also I find interesting is this ancient inscription in ancient Greek. Presumably these stairs led to the wall for soldiers defending the city. Triangle Tower, officially called Trigonio Tower, is at the northeast corner of Old Town. It's the most famous and most impressive tower of the wall. It was built by the Ottoman Turk authorities after their 1430 conquest of Thessaloniki. It was strategically placed to the precise location of the walls that had to absorb most of the pressure during a siege or raid, and it was used as an armory and an artillery tower. Seeing how many stairs I have to walk down coming back from the tower and the walls, you can see this area where the walls are and the tower are along the highest elevation of Thessaloniki. The highest point of the city is the Acropolis, and that's exactly what its name means. Although the most famous Acropolis is the one in Athens, here in Thessaloniki it was at the northeast part of the city and became home to the city's strongest fortifications. So that made it a great location for a fortress that was called the Heptapyrgion. Heptapyrgion is commonly known by its Turkish name, Yerikule. Both its Greek and Turkish name means Fortress of 7 Towers, which is interesting considering it actually has 10 towers. Although the fortress was originally built in the 4th century, it was rebuilt during the Ottoman era, from the 15th century Until the 19th century, it was the residence and headquarters of the military commander for the city. At first, they also used it to house Turks who wished to relocate here. In the late 19th century, the ruling Turks felt that the threat of attack or invasion wasn't as significant as it had been. So in 1890, the fortress was converted into a prison. The men's prison was near the center of the fortress, while the women's prison and the military prison were elsewhere. These cells would have likely been used for high security prisoners and those needing solitary confinement. Torture and execution also were not uncommon during this time. In 1936, Greece came under a fascist dictatorship, and the prison was used to house anyone opposed to the dictatorship or anyone who refused to submit to fascism. Just a few years later, on April 9, 1941, Nazi Germany captured Thessaloniki, and the Nazis used the fortress to imprison anyone believed to be a member of the resistance and anyone who even appeared to oppose Nazi rule. The Greek resistance liberated Thessaloniki near the end of 1944, and within 2 years, Greece fell under a civil war between the Western-backed government and the communists. During this time, communists and communist sympathizers were captured and held here. In 1967, several Greek military officers overthrew the Greek government and established an oppressive dictatorship. During this time, anyone opposing them was also imprisoned here. In 1990, the prison was transferred elsewhere, and the care and administration of the fortress was transferred from the Ministry of Justice to the Ministry of Culture. The White Tower of Thessaloniki was likely built in the late 15th century as a watchtower. It was originally called the Tower of the Janissaries, which was the name of the elite infantry of the Ottoman Empire. The tower stands about 111 feet high, with a diameter of about 71 feet. The tower later became a prison, and that's when it took its most memorable name, Kanla Kula, the Tower of Blood. It was called the Tower of Blood because prisoner executions were held on the top, what is now the observation deck. In 1881, it was painted white to cover up the bloodstains, and then renamed White Tower likely for public relations purposes. You see that Greek flag flying from the top? It's flying from the mast of an Ottoman ship that Greece sank near the end of their war for independence in 1912. The tower is now open to visitors, and it is home to the Thessaloniki Historical Museum. When you buy your ticket, you get a link to a guided tour that you can listen to on your phone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for traveling along with me. As always, I appreciate your support. Until next time, bye bye.